having trouble keeping your students engaged while you're teaching a lesson? Well, I've got some tips that might help you out. When presenting a lesson to your group of students, you'll want to remember the 3 E's: enthusiasm, entertain, educate. Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is important for getting yourself and your students pumped up for their lesson. You don't want to end up like this teacher.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? A tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get exactly the same amount of revenue as at this point. This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone? Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
You will most definitely want to avoid the dreaded sleep-inducing monotone. A simple trick to avoid monotone would be to smile as you speak. Be careful not to over-smile, because you may distract from your students' learning because you look crazy. Being entertaining while teaching can be as extravagant or as simple as you are comfortable with. You're going to want to know your audience a little before you go too hog wild with lessons. Dressing up for a lesson might not go over as well with high school students as it would with kindergartners. From a simple word search or crossword puzzle to hands-on experiments, your students will have more than just note-taking as a way to learn the material. Of course, your goal is to educate your students, but before you can do that, you'll need to educate yourself. Even if you've been teaching the same lessons for years, you'll want to make sure to freshen up on your lesson. This is especially important when teaching a lesson that is new to you. As an example, this is Mrs. Cook. She's a cooking teacher. She now has to incorporate a lesson on knives. Here is how the lesson may look if she did not properly educate herself before teaching.
Alright class, today we will be learning about knives. I'll be teaching you about a big knife, a medium knife, and a small little dinky knife.
Now let's see how it would look if Mrs. Cook had properly educated herself before teaching the lesson.
Alright class, today we're going to be learning about knives. We're going to be learning about the chef's knife, the serrated knife, and also the paring knife.
Because of educating herself before the lesson, she could properly teach her students. And you can tell she used the 3 E's. Now that you've learned about the 3 E's, enthusiasm, entertain, and educate, you can use these to help you keep your students engaged in the classroom.